We're Karen and Bo Christensen, a Danish-American couple who met in Germany in 2016. Bo is an airline pilot, and Karen is a freelance advertising creative director. In late 2022, we bought Château de La Tuilerie in Martel, France, and are working to make it a bed and breakfast and wedding destination fit for a queen. Welcome to Queen's Escape. So Bo got the idea to build a helipad while he was visiting the chateau before we even owned it. He was outside in the garden and a police helicopter flew overhead. They were looking for somebody, and it looked as though perhaps they were going to land on the lawn, and Bo waved to them and they waved back, and then they went on about their way. And it just occurred to him that, you know what, we have room to have a helipad.
On this map you will be able to see the property, and the property is marked by this red line here, and you can kind of see how it goes up into the landscape, which is the road from Martel comes down this way and goes around here and then goes over to Glusch, but up here is where we have our plateau behind the chateau up here. So if you can imagine, you have the cliffs right here, and then the rest here is basically the flatlands. And what we've been doing is we've been expanding the garden into a park. So you can see the chateau right here, and orangery is here, the outbuildings over here. Here's a long driveway coming up, and before we had a garden that basically went out a little bit like this, and then it came around and went over here to the driveway and back again. That is how the fence used to be, and then I've expanded it so that now we have a fence that goes along this blue line here all the way down this way. It goes around some green area, trees, goes across the field, around these chunks of trees on the back side, and then over here. And then it goes under these trees right here, and then back to the chateau. And the whole reason for this fence is to keep the wild boar away, because in this area it is an issue. So we've expanded the garden into a park now, and maybe you already noticed it, but there is an H here, and the H is for the helipad. So I'm going to explain what that means, because now we are going to make a helipad. The typical helipad is a yellow circle with a white H on a green background. But the colors can be different. The most important is the white H. A helipad is occasionally a landing zone for helicopters. It must not exceed more than 200 annual movements or 20 daily movements. It cannot also be located in a build-up area. If the receiving area does not comply with one of these rules, it is considered a heliport. So we are making a helipad. Another important thing to mention in the regards of making a helipad is that there are rules regarding the transition surface or surfaces. And if you imagine that you have the ground here, then you also need to have a gradient of 45 degrees going up on both sides. And what it means is just that if you go 10 feet out or 10 meters out, you would have to be able to go 10 meters up as well. In other words, if you had a tree here it would be okay. And the same over here, but it would not be okay if the tree was in this area here. So this whole area has to be free for the helicopter to come in and land safely and depart again. And that is the gradient. So I've come out here to where we want to make a helipad, and we have the fence here going across, and I've measured the distance between where the trees kind of stick out to on either side here. So that was 50 steps across, so 25 is halfway, and that is exactly where the back wheel of the tractor here is. So that will be the middle of the circle, which will be right behind here. And just to show you from the other side of the tractor here, you see Glush over there in the background, and we have the tobacco leaf barn. So the idea is that it's free to come in from the southwest here over the river, and then just come in over this field in a good distance from the little village, of course, and then land on the field that I'm standing on. And these tiles will be the ones I'm using to create the H, and I'm just going to put the tiles here for now, and then when I get enough tiles out here, I will start to create that H in the ground and put the tiles in. And then obviously the tiles would have to be painted white, so I need a bucket of white paint. Okay, I made the basis of the circle. I put sticks in the ground here, and according to the measurements by Yasa, I'm going to cut the grass now to make it visible where the circle is, and then after that I will install the H with these tiles over here. So I'm going to have to dig up a little bit of soil and put in the tiles. I've started making the H after I cut the grass here, and I just started out by putting a stick in the ground here in the middle, and then measuring out. The H will be 4 meters tall and 3 meters wide, and so I'm just basically scraping off the grass here and then put in the tiles, and then later I'm gonna have to paint them white. Alright, I finished getting the H in the ground here. It took me some time to get, the grass was very sticky, the soil, but it's up now, and I used the rake to just even it out, and then I'm just gonna have to put the tiles in and make it look nice.
Can you hear the crickets?
Just getting a morning shot here from the window on the second floor, and out there you see the helipad in construction. It's not ready or done, but it's a work in progress. Last night I stumped the soil here and that was good, but it got uneven, the ground. So today I'm just sharpening up the edges, and I'm putting gravel and sand in there, and then I'm gonna have to stump it again to make it more level. Alright, there you have it. Tiles are in. Next up is a paint job and support around the edges so the tiles don't move. So except for one tile, I managed to paint them all here. I ran out of paint, and it's Sunday, so I have to wait till tomorrow before I can buy a new bucket, but I'm gonna give it a second application as well to make sure that it's gonna last a little bit, the paint. I guess we're gonna have to paint it once a year anyway, but if I give it 2 applications now, it should last for this summer, and then we'll see how it goes. And there you have it. We have a helipad. It's been quite the exercise here. It took me a couple of days because I ran out of paint yesterday, but it's finished. I got the circle in there too, and it's just the basics of a helipad, but it's enough that you can see it from the air, and so any helicopter is now welcome to come and land here. So welcome back. This is the little part where I show you a gate that I'm going to build. The gate is going on a pathway that comes up from the chateau, as you see behind me, and it basically goes up behind the outbuildings, makes a 90-degree right turn, and then it comes up this way. There's a pillar behind me, and this pillar is one I found in the outbuildings last year, and I thought, oh, that's great, I can use it up here to make a gate. So now I finally come to the point where I'm making the gate, and I dug a hole last year in the winter. I put it in, so it's been standing here for a couple of months, but now I'm gonna do the work too. We're going to install a gate here, but first we need to install these two hinges, and I need this to hold it in place, and of course a wrench. So I'm just going to drill the 2 holes so we can install these 2 hinges. Okay, so we got both hinges installed now, which is good. Then I can continue with the gate itself. I still have to paint it and install the hinges that go on the 2 ones here across. So more work to do. Last year, before we came down here, my father, he gave me this saw, so it has been pretty much in use every time we have to do some woodwork, because it's really good to cut out. And this is some of the wood that was left behind from the first floor of the outbuilding, which was up there. That one we emptied out at New Year's, and there was a lot of wood, a lot of debris, something that might just you could cut out and use for something else. So I kept it, and it's been standing here since I think December last year. And when we did the west gate, so the one that's over there to the west exit of the property, I took some boards from the chicken piggery over here. It was just floorboards between the two floors, and we cut them up with this saw here, and then that and the stuff that was standing over here to the left was used to recycle and make a gate. It was a pretty big gate we had to do over there, but that worked out fine. And so now today I'm actually doing another gate, which is the one that has to go where I just showed you the pathway, the pillar. And so I already cut out the pieces I need for the vertical plane, and then I have to measure out and just put it down the right way and make a couple of crossbars, and then one that goes like this too. And then after that's all done and put together, I'm going to cut out so the top here, so we kind of make a form like we did on the big gate at the west exit or entrance. So now I've lined up all 8 pieces here. The top and the bottom you see will be going away. I just use them to measure out the exact position as they're lying on uneven ground, but it's pretty straight like that. And then of course I need 2 crossbars, and for that I measured out 2 pieces here. So they're also just debris from what I cut out before, and I'm gonna cut these now to the length so they can come over here, and then I can start drilling holes. So I'm back in the orangery, and I'm going to paint the little gate that I made in white like the other one, the big one, but it needs 2 applications on both sides, so I better get started. I finally finished painting this gate. And the wood was very thirsty because I had to paint it 4 times. But I'm through now, and it's just drying up, and then I will hang it up. I brought the little gate here over to the garage. So I'm installing the lower hinge first. As you can see here, I drilled the holes and I tightened one bolt right here. So I'm just gonna do the other 2. And then before I can do the second hinge up here, I'm gonna have to take it up to where the gate is going on, put the lower on first, and then I will drill the holes. I got my equipment here. Drill the holes up there so I'm sure that the distance between the 2 hinges is correct. Okay, so one more gate installed. Now this small gate was meant to be a gate that gives you access to the chateau through this pathway here. And so if you just follow that down, it turns left down there, and then you come down to the chateau. So that is one more job done, and it's all recycled except the screws, the bolts, and the hinges.
A new queen. Queen. New song by Andrew Lloyd Webber. A new queen in our day. So today I am laminating some checklists, and I have a room cleaning checklist, and then I have a breakfast preparation checklist. And the idea here is that we have a way that we do it and we follow the checklist, and that way nothing ever gets missed. If you haven't read the book, The Checklist Manifesto, it's a really good read, and it talks about how using checklists literally saves lives in the world, from aviation to medicine to all kinds of things. But I've also listened to some podcasts about, from B&B owners, and they talk about having a checklist makes it sure that whoever is cleaning the rooms is going to do it the same every time, and then you just have less issues. In my case, it's only me cleaning the rooms, but if ever we were to have some friends and family come and they were going to give us some help, then I would have a checklist to give to them, and it would be pretty self-explanatory, and I know everything would get done. And then in addition to that, we have some friends who have a chateau in the Rhone River region, and that's Lillian and Hendrik Lantz. And they live in Neuilly, and they have a beautiful chateau called Château de La Motte, not to be confused with Château de La Motte Husson, but theirs is also called Château de La Motte. And Henrik came to stay with us recently, and he reminded me that I needed to have our room rate cards in the rooms. So that I'm going to also laminate in little small pieces so that we can make sure we have our room rates posted in the rooms. So people never would feel like they're being cheated, and then we are also legally compliant. The Virgo in me is just loving this. Wow. Look at it. That's so awesome. It's perfectly laminated. I love it. So for the rooms, for the room cards, I needed to leave enough space between them so that I can cut them after they're laminated. Perfect. That's cool. So I put my breakfast preparation checklist right here on the wall for now. Yeah, I really couldn't find the perfect place to put it in here, but I thought, okay, if you're standing there, then you're kind of standing off to the side and you're not in the way of maybe if people are in here getting breakfast and doing things, so you can kind of step to the side and read what you need to do next and kind of be out of the way. And it's also central, so when I'm running around here, I don't have to go to one end to check the list. It's right in the middle of the room. And then the next place that I'm going to put these room cleaning checklists is in the cleaning buckets that I made. So I have one on each floor. Here can go one. And that's in there every time I go to a room with my cleaning bucket. And then on the second floor, also have a cleaning bucket here. Yep, here it is. And can go right in there. For reference. Oh, I love that.
I'm here on the second floor at the Margrethe room, and the reason is that according to French rules, when you run a bed and breakfast, you have to have a sign on the door here saying the room prices. So we've made these signs and Karen laminated them, and then I'm just gonna hang it up so people can see the different rooms and the prices. And there you have it. Another information for the guests.